What's up guys, this is Gregory from photosincolor.com, and today I'm going to be showing you 17 things that every photographer should be able to do in under 10 seconds. So without a break, let's get started. The first thing is change a battery. There's so many times on set that people are taking photographs and they fumble. You should always have a second battery in your back pocket ready to go. As soon as that light comes on, you're going to pop out the battery from the bottom of your camera and you're going to drop in the other one. And what's really important, this battery here doesn't go back in your pocket. It goes straight on charge. You can pick up great battery chargers for when you're on location for a couple of $100 that will charge one of these in no time. So plug it straight in. Okay, so item number 2, really basic stuff here. Change a lens. You should be able to change a lens in under 10 seconds really quickly. So I've got 2 lenses here. This is how I like to change a lens. Before I do it, I'm going to unscrew the top of the lens I'm going to be putting on. I'm going to pull off this by twisting, drop it upside down, switch that over. I'm going to keep this camera facing down so no dust drops in, and then push on that other lens. And now I have the other lens ready to go. That can go straight back into the bag, and I've got my new lens on. Now, let's do exactly the same thing for say I'm on location and I don't have a table. Really easy to do. You're going to take the lens you're going to put on and you're going to wedge it under your arm. You're then going to first of all, it's slightly different this time. You're going to take this, you're going to take that lens off. You're going to put it there, undo the cap, switch the caps, pull out that other lens, and then you're going to screw it on. And there you have it. You've changed it in absolutely no time at all. I even took off the lens cap. So that is how to change a lens in under 10 seconds. If you can't do that, practice. Literally, sit at home on your couch, watch TV, practice changing lenses. Really, there's nothing more unprofessional for if you can't do that when you're shooting. Okay, so the next thing, let's talk about a couple of settings you should be able to do instantly. Setting number 1 is change the white balance. So on pretty much every single DSLR camera out there, there's going to be a white balance button. Remember, click that, set that to either the setting which you are in, so if you're shooting with flash or it's daylight, it's shade or something like that, or you can always rotate that knob and go to Kelvin and set it that way. Just practice and make sure you know how to set the white balance and get used to doing it the first thing when you get on set. Okay, the next thing, we are on to number 4. Learn how to manually set the focus. Now, these things are amazing at focusing. So we all know that all you have to do is point it, half press, and it's going to focus. But sometimes you're going to want to manually focus. That's because maybe it's not focusing on the object that you want it to. Maybe the focus system's having problems that day. You've got a bit of a dodgy lens. Just learn how to do it. Nearly every camera you're going to have a manual setting on the side that you can click from your auto to manual, and if not, it will probably be on the lens. And literally just practice focusing manually. Now, a great way to do it manually, you go past the point of focus, you come the other way this side of the focus point, then you land straight in the middle. You should be able to do that in seconds, and again, sit at home and practice how to do that. Okay, number 5, you should be able to instantly, way under 10 seconds, change the shooting mode. Now, we all know we should be shooting manual as much as possible, but sometimes I love to shoot in aperture. Why is that? Because if I'm outside and the light's changing and things like that, dropping it into aperture priority is just going to help me out with my shutter speed if I've got plenty of light, but I just want to make sure my exposure is taken care of. So just remember, most of these DSLRs are going to have a mode button. You click that and you rotate the wheel so you can switch between manual, shutter priority, aperture priority, full auto, which I wouldn't recommend doing, but just be aware that you can change that mid-shoot and be able to understand what each one of those do. Okay, now let's look at changing the memory card. Now, a lot of people just think, oh, well, you just change your memory card, you pop it out and you go like this. Well, there's a few things you must remember before you actually do that. Item number 1, turn the camera off. That's making sure all of the photos have been transferred from the sensor to that. Sometimes you'll have a little light on the back of that. Make sure that's not flashing. Pop it out, don't put it in your pocket, give it to an assistant or put it inside a little caddy, a little carrying case for this before you put it in the new one. Don't take this out, leave it, put in the new one, because who knows where those important images are gone. Okay, now the next thing is going to be to set your camera in burst mode. Now, a lot of the time you're not going to have your camera in burst mode because you're just going to want to take single images. But you need to be able to get into burst mode really quickly, because sometimes, and it happens all the time, people are like, oh, I just want to do a photograph when I'm jumping, or where there's this water splash, or you're not quite sure of the perfect moment. So you need to be able to very quickly, on my Nikon here, I just rotate the dial on the top, and now I'm in burst mode high, which means it's going to take loads of frames per second. And then I can just rotate that knob, I'm not even looking at my camera, and go all the way back to a single shot. You should be able to do that without even thinking. Okay, so that's a few settings that you should be able to do in under 10 seconds here. So now let's talk about a few other things that you should be able to do. Item number one is setting up a tripod. So often I see people fumbling with tripods and they seem to spend ages. You should be able to pull a tripod out of the bag. It's going to come up like this. And what you should do, in my experience, is rather than start extending all sorts of legs and everything like this, just open it, get it set down, pop up. I don't even have a base plate on this one. But what you're going to do is pop off your base plate. You're going to screw it in. Now, always carry a coin. That goes into the bottom, screw it, get it nice and tight onto this camera so that it doesn't shift at all. And then you're going to drop it onto there. I can't believe I forgot my base plate. If you have my base plate, I want it back. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to just take a moment to hit the subscribe button down here, that would be awesome. Okay, the next thing, people all the time are using what I think is probably the best thing any photographer can use, and that is a reflector, a 5-in-1 reflector, 7-in-1 reflector, 3-in-1 reflector. This is a 5-in-1 reflector. It's got the silver, the gold, the transparent, the black, and all of those things. You should be able to set this up in no time. I keep it black on one side, silver on the other, because that's most of the time how I'm going to use it. All I'm going to do is unzip it, open it, and if I just drop it like so, it's going to pop itself open, and now I've got my reflector set up, and I'm going to flash the camera like so. So once I've got it set up, I'm now ready to use it. Let's actually reflect on myself. Look how light I look here. Then I want to pack down. Now, you don't want to be kind of spending ages doing this. You just want to get rid of it. The easiest way to pack one of these up, you hold them on each side, you pull, you twist, and there it is. It's gone away. All you're going to do is pop that back in the bag. So that is how to do a 5-in-1 reflector. You should practice doing that so that you don't look silly on set the first time you use one. Okay, the next one is how to review the photos when there's a client around. Now, this is kind of called chimping. So a lot of the times we don't want to see this. Photo, quick look, photo, quick look. Like, nobody wants to see that. It doesn't give trust to the client. The client should trust that you know what you're doing. So you should be able to check a few key things very quickly. The first thing you want to check is focus. So I'm going to go onto an image, hit the play button on my Nikon, hit the plus button a few times, zoom in. If I'm shooting a person, I'm going to look at the eyes. But whatever you're focusing on, make sure that focus is sharp. So I just go in, zoom in. I'm not going to scroll through everything. Next thing I'm going to do is have a quick look at the framing. Make sure, is the framing pretty much how I want it? Remember, I can always crop a little bit later, but not much. And then the other thing is go to your histogram, look at your exposure. You can see exposure on the back of this, but if the sun's shining, these screens really aren't that good. They're great for referencing, but go to your histogram and flick through that and be able to read it and have a look at your histogram. On my Nikon, I hit play. When an image comes up, I hit down and I'm straight in the histogram. I hit up and I'm straight back at the image again. It's that simple. So if you don't know how to do that, look it up on your camera and practice doing it. And that brings me to number 12. Know how to read a histogram instantly. Oh, Instagram, follow me, photos in color. So a histogram, understand the shadows, the highlights, where you want your exposure to be within that. Understand how to read it so that as you flick through, hit play, look down, oh, my exposure's a little hot, cool, I can adjust my shutter speed, my aperture, whatever, to compensate for that. The next thing is the lens hood. Now, I have a 14-24 here from Nikon. It has a built-in lens hood. But let's say I've got this one. Now, practice learning how to turn that lens hood around like that. Now, it sounds very silly, but it happens all the time that people are like, trying to click it this way and they turn it round and then they're trying to get it on. There's always a little dot which will aim at the top of the lens so that you can twist it round, clip it on and twist it back. You should be able to do that in no time at all. So practice with your lens hoods. Make sure that you know exactly how to do that. Okay, the next thing is going to be bag to shooting in seconds. Now, say this is my photography bag, which it is. This is my Billingham. I would definitely suggest one of these. They're amazing. I've got my camera inside here, okay? Now, I don't know what my next shoot's going to be, okay? So I've got my camera in there. I've got it on my shoulder. What I don't want to do is something cool's happening or I've just arrived somewhere and then I want to pull my camera out and then I have to go like this. Going to get the camera out. Maybe I put a lens on because I don't have my lens on it. And I got to go through my settings and see what it is. Instead, do it this way. I always have the same lens on my camera when it goes in this bag. I have the 24 to 70 Tamron lens sitting on my camera. Always, that's exactly what I have in there, so I know what lens is already on the camera. It's also a very versatile lens, so it means that I can use it to capture all sorts of things. Right, settings. Don't just leave your camera in the settings from your last shoot, because maybe I was shooting in my studio and I was doing a portrait shoot and we had some flashes. Well, then I take this and I'm going to be in a location outside or something. So those settings are going to change. So I want to leave my camera in a situation, in a place with settings that's safest, that I can capture the widest range of things. So what am I going to do? I'm going to have this lens attached. I'm going to have it set to aperture priority. I'm going to have it set to about ISO 200. And then I'm going to have it set to f2.8. I'm going to have my white balance set to auto. I'm going to have it set to raw. At any moment, I can pull that out and I can just turn it on and shoot. Always have an empty memory card in that camera. Don't leave the memory card in that's got a load of photos on it. So that there, I know that was a long explanation, but have your camera always in your bag, ready to shoot, so you can be bag to shooting in under 10 seconds under any scenario. Okay. The next one is you should be able to evaluate the light at any time. At any time you should be able to walk in and go, okay, what is the ambient light? We're not talking about flashes, we're not talking about anything like that. Ambient light. Does it have any problems? Is it the sunlight? Is it above? Am I going to look for shade? Do I want to have the sunlight behind or in front? Just learn to evaluate the lighting, every piece of lighting. Is there a big mirror on the side that's going to give a reflection? Is there some window and it's cloudy outside, so that's going to be changing? Learn to evaluate ambient light very quickly. Okay, number 16, we are so nearly through that. Number 16 is you should be able to connect and create rapport with your client or your subject or your model, whoever it might be, in under 10 seconds. So that means that rather than they come in or you're about to start shooting and you're paying attention to all your equipment, the equipment should be invisible. You should just be, you might be setting up some things. Hey, how you doing today? Lovely to meet you. Wow, you look fantastic. I'm super excited about this shoot. Make them feel comfortable. Make them know that you're excited to shoot their project. It's not just about you working for them. It's that you want to be there. That creates a great rapport. Ask them some questions. Get them to talk to you. Ask some questions, get some rapport. In 10 seconds, get them talking. Really important. And number 17, this one is really important and something that people seem to miss all the time. And that is how to sell yourself as a photographer or as a photography business very quickly in around 10 seconds. So that's how to sell yourself. So many times I hear people not really being able to tell them why they're good, why people should choose them. For me, it's always really simple. I always say, hey guys, look, I'm not going to sell you on the quality of my work. Take a look at my portfolio. That's what's really important. But the reason why you want to shoot with me is because I'm going to take care of the experience. You're going to have a great time. Pre-production is going to be a pleasure. We're going to sort what we want to shoot. On the day, we're going to have so much fun. But what's really important is when it comes to delivery, I'm going to deliver exactly what you wanted, on brand and on time, every time. That's what you get when you hire me. So if I missed anything on my list today, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. Tell me what you thought was a great idea. Tell me something that you thought maybe that's impossible to do in 10 seconds. But I would love to hear all of your thoughts and comments on this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel. This was Ed Gregory for photosincolor.com. Woo! Yeah!